Hello, my name is Rabbi Zevi Weinberg. I am a Chabad rabbi, author of over 30 books on Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism in particular. You can check me out on Amazon at the website KabbalahWisdom.org. Obviously, hopefully you're on my YouTube channel. Well done. Good choice there. From all the videos you could see, you chose the best. You're a wise and smart person, and I'm sure you're beautiful too. I am a Jew. What does it mean to be a Jew? I was once on a bus in Miami, and she was kind of maybe 60, 65, or 70 at the time. She gets on the bus, an older, small, plump Jewish woman. She sits down next to me and she introduces herself. She goes, "I am a Jew. I am a survivor. I am a miracle." And she explains to me how she was hidden by some good Christians during the insane ideology. Just in case you thought humanity was sane, you look how millions of people, doctors, lawyers, jurists, could fall for such stupidity. And it's happening once again. Stupidity never dies. And we'll discuss soon why. But the main point of this conversation is she was hidden in basically a pit for 2 years. But how did she see her life? Did she see her life oy vey or yay? And that is what it means to be a Jew. Every one of us, there's kind of this Eastern philosophical doctrine, which isn't true, which is that we all suffer. It's not true. Some of us are spoiled. Some of us have, Section 8, we're not suffering. But we may be suffering because we're not suffering. Because a person that hasn't been challenged in life, I love to see the Latin Americans that come to America. They remind me of the Jewish Maya ancestors that came. And they didn't complain. They didn't say, "Woe is me, my grandfather, his mother, his family." I'm sure there was an extended family of at least 100 people, besides 3, him and a niece and a nephew. They were all literally taken from their homes, where they put into a gas chamber, the life sucked out of them, where they put into a car that pumped in carbon monoxide and stuff, where they shot in a ditch. Who knows what hell, what torture they went through before? But did he say, "Woe is me"? Or did he say, "Yay, I'm a Jew. I'm a miracle"? And the difference between those two attitudes is the attitude of remaining a victim, which we kind of like to do. And there are cultures, I don't want to put anyone down, but for thousands of years, they're holding on to victimization. Thousands of years ago, this happened, or even hundreds of years ago, and you will never, never be free if all you can remember is what happened to you that hurt you. But if you go beyond that pain, and that's the real strength in life, and to say, "I am a Jew," which can be applied to anybody that tries to adopt a better mentality. A Jew means somebody that is grateful. The word Jew comes from the word Judah, Yehuda, Pam Oida. I am grateful to God. And the real difference, and this is the most fundamental difference of Judaism and all faiths, including anti-faiths and secularism, it begins with a very simple premise. And I think it's so simple that many Jews themselves are not aware of it. The premise is this: God existed before you did. And that may seem very simple, but it's not so simple, because most people see God in their own image. We call it anthropomorphization. They create a God of their own mind. And so therefore, their experience with God is one in which, quote unquote, whether they realize it or not, they kind of invented it. If somebody invented, some kind of a contraption, they think they're a genius, or maybe a discoverer. I don't know how Alexander Graham Bell felt when he discovered electricity. If that was him, maybe I'm confusing it. But whatever it is, the point is that you may think you're a genius, but really electricity existed all the time. You just discovered a natural phenomena that God put into the world. Imagine you say, I'm a genius, I discovered dirt. Dirt's always there. Everybody saw dirt. Okay, you could be a genius. You discovered its properties. You can map it out. You may be very, very, very clever. but all you did was discover what God himself put into this world. And one of the things that God put into this world is you. You are like mud. You're no different to mud. In fact, you're made up of the same components of mud. He breathed into his breath the breath of life, or he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. Without God, without the mud, they say a cute joke. A guy has a duel with God. He says, God, I'm the greatest scientist. I got even AI. I can do anything. So God says, okay, we're both going to make an ant. He says, God, no problem. I'm going to make an ant. So they start off with some mud. And then God says, do me a favor. Can you get your own mud? Who made the mud? Who made the dirt? Who made every single atom? Never mind the breath of life. Our sages say this thousands of years ago, but it's still true. If you took all the scientists in the world, you couldn't create the wing of a fly and breathe life into it. Even if you could make an ant, which is impossible, think about all the DNA and the components. But even if you could you give it life? Could you give it the will to live, the desire to live? No. Everything is like a computer game, and the whole thing's been programmed. We are part of God's program. And once you realize that, everything changes. You know why? Because you're humble and you're grateful. And therefore, it's not God is so great and I celebrate God, but it's rather I am so small and everything that I receive is such a gift. And the deeper question is, what is the purpose of my life? Why did he make us? I don't know if you know this, but ants actually are a single organism. An ant colony is amazing. It's one body. Even though there are many ants, thousands, it's actually one. And that's the truth, is that we're all one because we're all part. Everyone and everything is part of God's plan. And so once we start with this premise, instead of being upset by what happened to us, and of course it was unfair, of course it was unjust. As somebody once came, I think it was Elie Wiesel, the great Nobel laureate and writer and poet, and he complained, where was God during the Holocaust? Or he said, how can you believe in God after the Holocaust? And the Rebbe said, who are you going to believe in, man? You're going to believe in the people that took babies and gassed them alive? Is that who you're going to believe in? People celebrating these Arab Islamic terrorists, people that took babies and burnt them alive? This is who you're celebrating? Have you lost your mind? Are you crazy? Are you stupid? So the point is that we have to retouch truth, that everything is a gift. And once we touch that truth, we are enabled to keep on thinking in a logical, not in a kind of egotistical mechanism. And that's the foundation of all truth.